This is Damien Maffei from The Strangers Pray at Night and Haunt, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 249. Tonight we're talking about Halloween Ends, which is currently on Peacock and in theaters. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Joe, we have Steve, and if you're listening on Friday, it is one day till our event. What's going on Saturday? I forget.
Tomorrow, folks, if you're listening when this releases, or maybe listening on Saturday. So today. So if you're local, or if you want to take the drive down or whatever, maybe a last minute flight if you're listening on Friday, come to our big event in Salem, Massachusetts with Max Dennison himself, Omri Katz from Hocus Pocus, or if you're an Erie, Indiana fan, or if you're a Matinee fan, or if you want to go real old school, you're a Dallas fan, because he was in like 150 episodes of Dallas as JR Jr. So, hey, if you're an Omri Katz fan, come and meet him 1 to 5 at Silver Moon Comics and Collectibles in the Witch City Mall in Salem, Massachusetts. If you're just at our Damien event, which we will get into after, you know where it is. But yeah, it's going to be a really great time. We're expecting big crowds for it, so I would definitely recommend coming early if you are going to the signing, because once 5 o'clock hits, I doubt we'll be able to stick around too much longer. So definitely get there as early as you can for the signing. Also, we're doing the screening. It is sold out, so thank you so much to everyone that bought tickets for the screening. The screening will happen over at Cinema Salem, which is basically right across almost from Silver Moon Comics and Collectibles. So it's right inside the Witch City Mall as well, so you don't have to go very far. If you ordered food from the Crypt for the event, they will be set up right next to the cinema before you go in, so you can grab your food and head into the cinema, and you can eat inside the cinema. There's no problem with that. And yeah, and me, Todd, Steve will be hosting the Q&A with Omri immediately following the screening of Hocus Pocus at the cinema. We're super excited for that. We're also going to have a table set up right next to Omri at the signing from 1 to 5. We're going to have magnets, stickers, probably doing a little giveaway, and just come in and say, hey, it's going to be a great time.
Yep. Hugs, high fives, fist bumps. Me to get my, what did I get? I got my Sanderson sister wings, Cheeto dusted. And I got the Dead Man's Toes, which are tater tots, I think. I don't know. I think Steve got the same thing, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, looking forward to it. I think I can't wait to eat what the Crypt has been putting out there, because I know there was a hit this past weekend with their Muffaletta burger, because Joe had hosted a little bit of an event. So, Joe, you want to tell us how it went with our Damien Maffei event at Silver Moon Comics last weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much to people that came out. We did have a few listeners that came by. I don't think anyone that's on the Discord, no one I recognize, but they said they listened to the show and whatnot. So I appreciate you guys for coming out to that. Had some really nice conversations with quite a few of you. So thank you. And we met a lot of new people too. A lot of people were really interested. A lot of people loved our Halloween logo. I actually had one person criticize our other logo. They're like, oh my God, this Halloween logo is so much better than this one. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. But, thank you so much. And we cannot thank Damien Maffei enough. He is such a good friend of the show, just such a great, genuine person. Was really glad to see he had a pretty solid turnout. Yeah, so it was a very successful event. Thank you so much to everyone that came. And then me and Damien, right immediately after following the signing, were able to go and check out Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery. We cannot thank Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery. If you are a horror fan and ever decide to come to Salem, Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery is an absolute must. But they were very kind to us to take Damien and myself and Sam, who came with us, on a little private tour. He does he just started doing it this year. It's called Lifting the Coffin Lid, which is a private owner's tour he does. So he took us on that. So he takes you down into his private little lair, and he has a ton of occult stuff down there and real live human skeletons, books from the 1700s, vampire hunting kits and stuff like that. Like super, super cool. unique stuff down there, plus a couple of other monsters he doesn't display upstairs that he has down there. And he also has real movie mold stuff down there from like Terminator, Evil Dead, stuff like that. So really, really cool stuff to see down there. And he gave us the full tour. It was really cool. So yeah, thank you to James, the owner of Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, for doing that for us. And hopefully Stephen Todd might get the opportunity to do that too next Saturday. So we'll see. But thank you once again, everyone that came out. If you didn't come to this one, please come to Omri next week, or tomorrow, I should say, because it's going to be a great event. And finally, the squad will be full for the first time ever. So I'm most excited for that, I think. But I mean, I'm very excited to host Omri, and I know it's going to be a super successful event, as we already sold out the screening, and I think the signing is going to be pretty crazy as well. So yeah, thank you everyone for all the support though.
Before we move on to our next segment, which is going to be What Watch, for the last time, here is Omri in his own words talking about the event.
It's me, Omri Katz, aka Max from Hocus Pocus. Just here to let you know I'm going to be in Salem, Massachusetts on October 22nd at the Silver Moon Comic Store starting at 1 p.m. I'm going to be signing some autographs and meeting fans and whatnot. And then after that, there's going to be a special screening and a Q&A hosted by the Horror Squad podcast at Cinema Salem. So I really look forward to seeing you guys there, and don't miss it.
Well, watch.
Do it.
You just got the one, Joe? No pappies?
No, busy couple weeks with the events. So yeah, I just like completely crossed my mind. So I apologize. But I do have one this week, and it's not horror related per se, but it's definitely in the true crime realm. It is a show over on Peacock, and the show is called A Friend of the Family. This one stars Colin Hanks, Anna Paquin, and God, what's the girl from Ghostbusters? McKenna Grace. Yeah.
She's good.
She's in it too. I haven't run into her character yet in the first 5 episodes, but getting there. So if anyone is familiar with the documentary Hidden in Plain Sight, it was a super popular documentary that went viral probably a couple years ago. And once I start explaining it, you're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, I definitely saw that. So basically the show takes place, it's basically almost exactly the same as a documentary, except we're seeing it in, of course, these characters' perspectives now on the TV show. So this is a show is about a family who befriends another family, and they're both a Mormon family, and the husband of the other family takes a strong liking to one of the daughters from the other family. He ends up saying, I want to take this girl, and I will say, like, they're like best friends, it's like the best of friends. They call this guy, Brother B, I think his name is, who's played actually, funny enough, by the guy from The Office there, who's kind of like Jim. I think they called him like Fake Jim for a little bit or something like that. I forget his character name, but I think he dated Erin too on the show. But he plays the creep in this show, and he plays him very well. But so essentially what happens here is he ends up taking this girl, says, oh, I want to take her horseback riding. They don't return that day. They don't return the next day. They don't return the day after that. And the parents are like, what do we do? And the wife of the other, the wife of this guy is like, oh, he's going to be back. Don't worry about it and stuff like that. And you're just like, what is this? What are these parents doing? Meanwhile, we see what's going on with this little girl and this guy, and basically he's brainwashing this little girl, telling her, oh, we've been abducted by aliens, and you need to listen to everything they're going to say and stuff like that, and all this fucked up shit. And then basically what happens from there is he brings her home. The parents kind of forgive everything, and then the mother ends up having an affair with this guy. The father ends up doing sexual things with this guy. Basically, he maybe not penetrates, is probably the right word, but he essentially infiltrates the entire family.
I know what you're thinking about. Holy shit.
I'm sorry. He is, because it's such a sick, and it's a true story, and it's so sick and twisted. But he infiltrates this entire family, completely brainwashes them. I don't know if you guys if this is like ringing a bell to you guys or not.
Yeah,
like now that I'm
you talking
explaining
about it. Didn't the dad give him a hand job?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He convinced the dad to give him a
Fucking weird.
hand job, which they show on the show, and it's fucking disturbing as hell. I mean, not in detail, but they do show it on the show. But it's just like, what like I mean, it's like infuriating to watch this show because you're like, why? Like the parents just put this kid in such a terrible situation and they just never protected her. And it's interesting because the show actually opens with the actual girl, now an adult, obviously being like, Jan Broberg, I believe is her name. And she's like, this is my story. She's like, people will watch this and say, like, how could this ever happen and stuff. And she's like, well, it was a different time back then in the 70s. And she's like, I just want people to be aware that this could happen and this could still happen today. And it's a really good show. I mean, it's really well done. I mean, Colin Hanks and Anna Paquin and this guy who plays Brother B. I can't remember the actor's name, but he does great. I mean, it's a really well put together show, but I'm not gonna lie, like it makes me so angry to watch it. Like it really evokes some really strong emotions. So definitely like trigger warnings all around for people. But if you haven't seen the documentary, I would highly recommend watching the documentary first and then going to watch the show. So check it out if you want. Friend of the Family over on Peacock. And if you want to watch the documentary, it's called Hidden in Plain Sight.
Gross.
Very gross.
Is it the
Sam had to take a break because she was like so like
Jeez.
disgusted by it.
Yeah, that's a crazy world, man. All right, my first one here is 1959's Roger Corman directed The Wasp Woman. And I've been like, every time I turn on Amazon Prime, it's always like one of those things like they're trying to get me to watch, right? Because same thing with Tubi, they're constantly throwing stuff at you until you're like, fine, I'll fucking watch it. So I finally freaking watched it, and if you look up the artwork or just go to Amazon Prime, you'll see why. It's like a giant wasp with like this really poor artwork of a woman's face on a giant wasp body, and I'm like, I really want to see that effect in 59. Sadly, it never comes, so that's a disappointment right there. But essentially the story is this beauty company owner. She's like the face of the franchise, right? She's young, beautiful, blah blah blah, but time is catching up with her and she's starting to look her age. Not that she's bad looking or anything like that, but she's looking critical at herself. Like, she used to be a supermodel, now she has aging lines, things like that. So she's like trying to find a wonder drug. In enters this gentleman that's obsessed with wasps. He worked as a bee, what do they call bee? I don't know, bee people. But he brought his wasp to the bee party, and the bee guys were like, get the wasp out of here, dude. So they fired him. And he sends her a letter in the mail, and she's like, I got the wonder drug. I got the wasp juice. If you put it in makeup, I'll make you young again. Brings him on. Lo and behold, he has this wonder juice, but it's not tested yet. And she's like, fuck you, I'm getting it. Give it to me. He's like, it's not tested. I don't care. Puts it in her, turns her into wasp woman. She starts murdering people. And that's that. It's 59. It's Roger Corman. If you ever seen any of his films, they're super corny. I really like the effects, even though you can see like when she like lunges for someone that she's wearing gloves, because you see the ends of the gloves and see her wrists looking normal, things like that. So it's kind of corny. But you know what? It's 61 minutes long. It's old, and they did a black and white conversion to color, which came out like terrible, where the actor would shift and he would go from black and white to like kind of greenish color back to black and white again within like the same movement. So it's pretty funny. But The Wasp Woman over on Amazon Prime, I'd recommend it. It's a solid 2-star.
Nice. I hate misleading posters though. That's such a bummer.
It's a cool poster.
But I'll fall for it every time too, just because Tubi or whatever keeps recommending it. My first one is a 2022 film, and I watched it over on Disney Plus, and that's Werewolf by Night. So Werewolf by Night is a movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a 4-minute movie, so it's like a one episode type deal instead of a full-fledged like Marvel movie. So it's not quite a show, not quite a movie. It's kind of like in between. It was like a special they did for Halloween. So in this one, a bunch of monster hunters gather at a mansion where the owner has passed away, and the owner was the owner of something called the Bloodstone, which is a powerful tool that is like known in the MCU, and it gives the wearer powers and stuff like that. But the Bloodstone can't just be passed down, it has to be earned. So what they do is they have all these monster hunters come together and they put the Bloodstone on a creature's back and then set him loose in a maze. And then the hunters have to go into the maze, kill the creature, and grab the Bloodstone so they can be the new owner of the Bloodstone. So that's where our story kind of takes us. We follow one of the guys, and he goes into this maze and he starts, fighting the other guys, kind of like Hunger Games type thing, where you're trying to kill the other hunters so they don't get to the bloodstone first, or if he finds a creature, kill the creature and grab the bloodstone. But something is not right with him that we find out. And as the title suggests, he's actually a monster himself. And he's actually friends with the monster that has the bloodstone on his back. So the other hunters start hunting them both, and then a bunch of other stuff happens, which I won't spoil. And the monster that he is, of course, is a werewolf. It's called Werewolf by Night. This is like an amazing movie. It's got all the action, comedy, kind of comic booky stuff that you would expect from a Marvel movie, but it also has a lot of horror as well. It's in black and white with the exception of certain little things like the bloodstone is red. They just kind of highlight important things in the movie, but the rest of it is almost all in black and white. And it's got a real like Universal monster, early like 30s, 40s feel to it, which is really cool. It's mostly practical effects, which is really awesome. Even the main creature, which I won't spoil because it is a somewhat known Marvel character who plays that's the creature, one that I was personally super psyched to see fully realized for the first time. And it almost looks like he's CGI, and he's probably enhanced a little bit with CGI, but I've seen like on-set pictures and it actually is a costume, which is fucking amazing. And I just really dug it. It's quick at 54 minutes. I mean, there's probably 6 minutes of credits in that, so like let's say 50 minutes. It's a really short experience, and I dug the fuck out of it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I hope they do more of these kind of short, one-shot character explorations. And in fact, that might be my biggest complaint is at 50 minutes, you don't get a ton of character development. I kind of wish we'd seen more, but it was still a really cool thing to see. And I do urge people to check it out. So that's Werewolf by Night over on Disney+.
Is there blood in it?
Blood, but it's in black and white. But yes, there's a lot of murder and it's really cool. It's like really well done.
Murder and intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right. My final one is a 2022 that you guys already covered called Deadstream over on Shudder. And I was a little worried. I know Steve rated it high. Joe rated it, I think, at a 2.5. So I'm like, I'll probably be in the middle there. But I'm right on where Steve is at a 4 out of 5 on it. I really liked it. And I thought on paper, this isn't one I would like, because it's about a YouTuber that, is doing anything for clicks. Turns out he was canceled for a little bit. He did a fake apology. And now this is his comeback where he's going to do a one night only, lock himself in a haunted house and just do whatever his listeners do. So he gets in there and he's extremely obnoxious. He's very full of himself. Every joke and every scare and everything is just to get a like, just get a view, things like that. However, I really like the guy's performance in it. He plays a bad, quote unquote, bad character very well. And I really liked his reactions to things. Like he has this little kind of like a wussy scream that he does, which is really effective. And it's also clever too. Like with these live footage movies, you always have the question like, why are you still filming? But he has like a setup where it's strapped to him and things like that. So he's always filming it, which is nice. Pacing issues, yeah, a little bit where he has to break and he wants to check his comments on the live video, which it makes sense because he's the type of person to do that. But the breaks in action always further the plot. Like they get a little bit of, hey, check out this video. That thing you were looking at, this is what it means. Or the thing you just said in Latin, that means this, and things like that. Surprised about how good the effects were, as well as some of the creature stuff. Some of the comedy, yeah, is a little bit over the top and it missed, but every time they had like a bad joke where I'm like, all right, this just knocked it down another notch, they do something to bring it back up. So fortunately, it ended up extremely positive and definitely in the top 10 so far. And the year's almost over, so odds are it will remain there, so we'll see.
I'm glad you liked it. I think a lot of the jokes are kind of mimicking the type of jokes you would hear on streams like that. So, and also, like, I know Joe talked about last week that he found the host kind of annoying, but I think that was on purpose, right? Because he's kind of mimicking that type of personality that would do things like that. So I kind of bought it more than I did with Dashcam, which I just, I hated every being of it.
With that, she's still recording for no reason.
Yeah, still does the same thing that in real life.
There are some plot holes too, where like he throws away the key, but what was his end game to get out of the house if everything went normally? You know what I mean? like stuff like that.
Well, he didn't throw away the key. He knew where the key was. He
he put it down like a
he
grating.
which he knew he could reach. Right? It's not like
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
All right. So my final one this week is another 2022 film. This one I watched over on Shudder, and it's called Raven's Hollow. So Raven's Hollow is the best way I could describe this movie. It's basically Tim Burton's version of Sleepy Hollow. It looks like it. It feels like it. It's like basically the same story. So it's a guy in this movie. It's actually Edgar Allan Poe that's the main guy. They're just he's with a group of other British people, and they're going down with their horses, and they see this really creepy like body propped up, kind of like a scarecrow, and they need to investigate it. So they go to a nearby town and start asking questions like, what the hell's up with this? You know, they're I think there's some kind of like police or whatever for that time period, and the people in the town all get all creepy about it, but they have to stay there overnight because they want a good bed and a hot meal. And then people start dying all of a sudden, part of the group. So they start investigating the mystery as what's going on. And exactly like in Sleepy Hollow, you start hearing about the legend of in the woods, but instead of being a headless horseman in this one, it's a killer raven, a monster that is picking people off. And that's basically the plot of the story. It's really, really, it reminded me so much of almost a more like a rated R version of Sleepy Hollow, because there are some really crazy kills and setups and stuff like that. There's like a scene where there's just a corpse that's completely like dismantled and put up against a board. It's really fucked up. There's a lot of like crazy imagery in this movie, and I liked it. I did find it a little dull. It didn't have the same kind of energy that Sleepy Hollow did. Sleepy Hollow was like both serious but quirky at the same time, whereas this is like just serious. And the whole color palette of the movie is very like grays and blues, which is cool, and I get why, because it kind of shows that period and how it's dark and everything. But after a while, you're just like, ugh, like it's just the same color palette throughout the whole film, other than the blood whenever that happens. But then when you finally get to see the creature, I won't say what the creature is, but I thought it looked fucking cool. So at least it was worth it for that. And overall, I enjoyed it. It's not like one of my favorites or anything, but I think it's at least worth checking out. So that's Raven's Hollow over on Shudder.
All right, Trivias.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see here. The current quarter score is myself 4. The 2 you are tied at 2. Overall scores myself 57, Joe 50, Steve 44. Any man's game still. Got plenty of time left. Who would like to lead?
I'll go first.
Oh shit! Look at that confidence.
Just
I like
because I have it pulled up.
Killer instinct.
All right. So this one comes to us from a listener. So thank you very much for that. So it's a quote. So tell us what movie the quote is from.
Okay.
I'm not shocked that there's another woman. Of course, the fact that she's dead gives one pause.
Ooh. Sounds vaguely familiar.
It does.
You've both seen the movie, I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. We're talking last 10 years ish.
90s.
9. So I Married an Axe Murderer.
No.
Darn it. I don't even know if that's 90s. I think it is.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
I need to rewatch that.
Great movie. We should review that sometime, actually.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a fun
little
one.
change of pace, like a Valentine's Day kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, that'd be a
it's
good.
kinda-
Actually,
yeah,
that's a
that
great
would be a
Valentine's Day.
perfect-
Yeah,
yeah.
Lock it
That's
in.
Lock
It's
it
settled.
in.
We're doing it. We should do My Boyfriend's Back at some point too. 'cause that
Yeah,
was
for sure.
kinda like a goofy
Right.
Valentine's Day one.
I remember that song.
Um,
Gosh damn. That's
Right.
good.
Yeah, that's so popular.
I'm gonna kick myself because I know it, but I
Oh,
I
you guys
give
both give up.
yeah.
So that quote is from a little movie from Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon's Stir of Echoes.
No, that's twice
Oh.
today. I've missed that
So
opportunity.
thank you to Weezer Face. I specifically didn't say it came from Weezer Face, so it wouldn't clue you in.
Jeez.
So yeah, thank you Weezer Face for
Oh,
that
man.
question. And Weezer Face, look forward to meeting you at the Omri event.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be awesome. So
Darn it.
Yeah, well, I think we have a few people from the Discord coming, so I'm excited for that. All right, I'll go next.
Okay.
All right. This one is just a normal trivia question. Which horror film actress slept in bloody clothes for 3 days to nail the look of her infamous bloody scene?
Carrie.
That is correct.
No,
But who's
she's
the
not the
actress?
actress. It's
Casey's
yeah, Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, you got it. Sissy.
Yeah,
Spacek.
you had it.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, Tom.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Did you guys even hear me?
No,
No.
but I know you had it, so I'm giving
Oh.
it anyway.
I'm like, I'm muted.
Yeah,
Rookie mistake.
yeah,
All
Sissy
right.
Spacek.
Sissy. 4 clues. Clue number 1. A cuddly bear.
Ooh.
Oh.
Clue number 2. Ritual suicide. So we went cuddly bear to dark. So we got
Oh
cuddly
wait,
bear.
wait, I got it. It's
Okay.
Midsommar.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. Next would have been girlfriend forces her way on a buddy's trip,
Mm.
and there's blood in my drink.
I really got to revisit that movie because I've never seen the extended cut, and I'm very curious as to what
Neither.
they.
Mm-hmm.
All right, mine is also 4 clues. I might have done this one before, but anyway. Jungle,
Jungle.
General, Jeff Daniels,
Is it arachnophobia?
correct.
Yes.
Nice.
The General is what they call the main spider.
What was the fourth one? Fourth one.
Exterminator.
Mm.
That's fucking such a weird scene.
John Goodman.
Yeah.
I want to do that movie too one day. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun one.
Well, the
It's a-
remake's coming. So
it's a
maybe
tough
do
watch.
a double feature.
It's a tough watch.
Alrighty. I got a quote here. You tell
Okay.
me where what movie it's from. It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
Insidious.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
You guys need to fucking wake up. Here we
Yeah.
go. All right.
Todd's on a rampage.
Fucking coming for you. All right. This is Letterbox Reviews getting in on that train.
I love that train.
Review number 1. Ligma.
Ligma?
Yeah, Ligma balls.
Oh my god.
That's literally the clue. I just said you said that. I had to say it. For the review is Ligma.
Cabin Fever.
Incorrect.
All right.
The fuck? Okay. Number 2. This was an easy one, but Joe already answered, so he's got to wait for Steve. Don't Let Me Drink Alone.
Oh, I know it.
Number Steve, let the wheels turn. No, all right. Number 3. If I'm killed by Ma, do not prosecute her because she caught me slipping, and that's on me.
Mm.
You can guess, Joe. He
Hotel.
Oh, no, it's Ma.
yeah, it's Ma.
Oh, it's fine. Got it.
Yeah. And the reason it's Ligma, he wrote it as Ligma, so
Oh,
that would have given him
okay.
that.
I've only seen that once. I don't remember it very well.
We reviewed it, I think.
Don't let me drink
Not on this
alone.
podcast.
We didn't? Okay.
I think it was on the previous.
I remember being pretty
Previous?
solid,
Interesting.
like a 7.
Yeah, it was all right.
All right. So this is also a review.
Oh.
My jaw unhinged when this suddenly cut to the crucifixion. More movies should do that.
Crucifixion.
Part 2.
Uh,
Fire shoots out of the bald guy's dick at one point. So yeah, it's good.
What?
oh, guys, dick, fire, crucifixion.
Yeah, you ready? Next one.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Insane to the Membrane. Best horror movie of the 90s.
Insane.
Demon Knight?
You're correct.
Oh.
And the last one was Dick Miller and a bunch of titties. What's not to like?
Nice.
I threw that insane as a. Yeah, I know he shoots out fire out of his crotch at one point.
Jeez.
He's not naked or anything, but
It's been a minute.
it's a great movie.
All right, I got 3 letterbox reviews and name the movie.
Nice.
All right. Great movie for anyone who has ever wished suffering upon Logan Roy.
What is Logan Roy?
No, I don't know who that is.
All right. Halloween staple that gets more enriching every time I watch it. Maybe my favorite part is how twisty the chronology is for an anthology movie.
I feel
And
like
number 3.
There's a code there.
Fuck your hot girl summer. I want Wolf Girl Autumn.
Oh, it's a Trick or Treat.
It is. That is correct.
Okay, nice.
I threw the actor's name in there first because I know you probably would know him.
Who is
what
it?
actor?
The I assume it's the old guy.
That
Right?
like Poison's Candy or whatever,
Yeah,
or Razor Blades or something like that.
I think so. I'll look him up right now. He was mentioned several times though in the letterbox reviews I found. Actually, maybe that's his character name.
Hmm.
I don't know. I can't find it now. Never mind.
It's all right.
Ready? Final one. 4 clue. Remember, don't jump off the gun on this one. Friend of the Horror Squad.
Oh.
Oh,
This is
my.
a movie. We don't need an actor name. But that's a clue. Friend of the Horror Squad. Man in the Mask. Horror
Fair Night?
mazes.
Ah, damn
Nope. Horror mazes.
That was the other choice.
And
Haunt.
Halloween.
Yeah.
We got it.
Damn it. Yeah, I got beef with Mr. Maffei over that movie.
Oh. Uh-oh.
oh,
My sister came over for the weekend, and we were playing board games, and they said we should put horror movies in the background. So I'm like, cool. Here's Haunt. Well, I think it's a movie you might like. She's completely stopped fucking playing the board game so
nice.
she could watch Haunt because she's
It's a
like,
good
I
movie.
really love this.
It's a great flick.
I
Yeah.
lost my game night because my sister wanted to watch Haunt instead. Yeah,
Nice.
it's fun. Yeah, more people should. That's why I put it on, because it's something that people don't talk about enough, and I feel that people should watch it.
It's really good.
Yeah. Figures are coming soon from Trick or Treat Studios. So keep an
Yeah.
eye out.
And also, I saw Cavity Colors has some new Haunt merch coming out, so that's really cool too.
They do. hmm Yeah, I feel like it's getting more popular the further it gets away from it. Definitely, more
So
people are
good.
finding it around this time of the year. So yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Is it on Shutter? What's it streaming on right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a good question. It was on Shutter for a long time. If it's not,
Right.
I think it's streaming on a bunch of stuff though. I think I saw Damien post about everything it was streaming on. So
Okay.
on for you Canadians, it's on Amazon Prime and Shutter and AMC Plus.
And
There
for
you
you Americans,
It's on nothing.
it's on nothing. Yeah, you got to pay for it.
You cheap bastards.
It's only $1.99 though on Redbox. Does Redbox have a website, or you still have to go to like the little kiosks?
I don't know.
It's $3.99 everywhere else though, so don't be a cheap fucking. Just show Damien and the indie horror makers some support.
Damien should get some Blu-rays and have them out of stable, sign them.
He had
I'd totally buy
Strangers
that.
ones, which actually he definitely sold quite a few of the Strangers Blu-rays. He didn't have any Haunt ones though. I'll have to tell him
Come on,
to
Damien, get together.
step
dude.
his game up. He had a bunch of masks though, and he sold a bunch of the devil masks and a few of the Man in the Masks ones. And every time someone got a Man in the Mask one, he's like, "This is like the shittiest mass Trick or Treat Studios ever produced." Because he
He's
told
so
the
mean to
story.
everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's true because they actually made it and they recalled them all because they came out so terrible. And then they made a new one, and it still isn't the best looking thing they ever did. So yeah.
Sucks.
Mhm.
All right, trivia's done. Joe and I tied at 3, Steve at 2, which brings us for the quarter 7 for myself, 5, Joe, 4, Steve. Overall, 60 myself, 53, Joe, 46, Steve. So plenty of time. Now, I've been waiting to talk about this damn movie for like 3 days now. And it's Halloween Ends, directed by David Gordon Green. It's 111 minutes for people that are interested in that. 4 years after the events of Halloween in 2018, Laurie has decided to liberate herself from fear and rage and embrace life. But when a young man is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that will force Laurie to finally confront the evil she can't control. Once and for all. Okay. Halloween Ends. Yeah, before we talk about it, if you haven't seen it yet, please Peacock or theaters, if you have access to, watch it so you don't get spoiled. All right, this movie starts off with a young high schoolish age young man. He's a little bit nerdy. He goes to a house to babysit a young boy on Halloween night during, I believe, the events of 2018's Halloween, if I was watching that correctly. So the family leaves and they have a bunch of rules, but the babysitter decides to break them. He instantly lets them watch a horror film, which is the thing, John Carpenter's, which is pretty nice, but not a film you want to watch a little kid that's impressionable. Michael Myers is running around town. So this young man who's a little bit nerdy, he gets scared because the kid plays a prank on him. He hides from him and then locks him up in the attic. The guy's so fucking terrified of being locked in the attic that he kicks the door down. It hits the boy. He tumbles down this fucking giant staircase and falls and breaks his neck and kills him. They spot the young gentleman up there. He's holding a knife and it looks like this guy fucking murdered their son. Flash forward a couple years later and he's like the town pariah. He's walking around, people are like, eyeballing him, things like that. He didn't go to college like he had planned. Meanwhile, we have Allison who
Todd, I know you haven't mentioned Michael yet.
Michael who? Michael's in this movie? Allison, she's doing her thing, man. Her entire family's dead, but she's good. Lori, she's doing her thing. Her entire family's dead. She's good too, which we'll get to later. They're just doing their thing. Meanwhile, Michael Myers, man, he went on this insane rampage of a whole night event, killing multiple people. The fucking entire fire department, multiple cops, multiple townspeople. He fucking went on a rampage. He went through cops on the street and murdered a girl in her house. And then he just disappeared and no one ever looks for him in the fucking storm drain down near the fucking freeway. So this boy, he has a hard time, man. He killed this kid. It wasn't necessarily his fault, but he has to live with that. Lori's now perfect and she's living her life. No one talks about Michael at all, and Haddonfield residents are just doing their thing. And we'll leave it at that. Overall initial impressions, didn't really feel like a Halloween movie to me. Didn't really feel like a Laurie Strode or a Michael Myers. Everything felt kind of half-assed and like they didn't really want to make a Halloween movie with the plot that they chose. I thought Allison wasn't her same character. Laurie definitely wasn't the same character they set up in the previous two films. Michael's non-existent. The score, it's there, but it doesn't save it. The gore, definitely a major step down from part two. Overall, a disappointing to say the least, but I can't wait to open these notes up.
Yeah, I had issues with kills and the first movie in this entry, but I still thought they were like fine enough movies. Like especially the first one, I thought was like pretty solid. The next one, great kills, but not a great story. And here we are at the finale. What is going to happen? Will Laurie die? Will Michael die? What is going to happen? We're gonna have this epic showdown, and then we get this movie that takes a really interesting twist. Now, I will give some bits, I guess, of credit because they tried to do something different, and I think if this was the second movie in this trilogy, I probably would have liked it more. Or if they, if it was this plot came in another Halloween movie, I think I would have been more down for it, and I would have went with it. But this is the finale of a trilogy that was about Michael and Laurie, and a lot about Laurie. And they do put Laurie in here more compared to the second movie where she was completely wasted. But I just cannot go with the direction they decided to go with this movie, making this new character, Corey Cunningham, our main focus for 85 to 90% of the movie. It was really bizarre. It was just such a bizarre choice, and it was just a mistake in my eyes. Like I know a lot, and people, it seems to be most people agree, but man, I'm still like really just annoyed that they decided to go this route. We've been waiting so long for a Michael Laurie showdown, and we get it in other Halloween movies, but we've been waiting since the first movie of this new trilogy for this epic showdown. And when we finally get to it in this movie, it just didn't feel important, like considering the rest of the movie. So, I was essentially, it's just utter disappointment for me. Like, and when the movie ended, I felt nothing. And that's not good, like I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel one way or the other. I just felt pure and utter disappointment. And we'll get into it deeper, but yeah, this was just a huge letdown for me.
I agree. This movie is they really just pulled the carpet from under us and you're right. Maybe if this was done at another time, in another Halloween film that wasn't related to the trilogy or the first or the second one, but for the third one of this planned trilogy that we all knew was coming and expected, it just didn't make sense. It just, like, the whole marketing was around the final confrontation between Michael and Laurie. All the trailers were just Michael and Laurie fighting, basically saying, this is it. This is the last time you're going to see these two characters on screen together. There's just no excuse to do something so fucking crazy, and it just felt like it didn't belong in this series at all. Even though it had a lot of the same characters, they didn't feel the same. Laurie was not the same Laurie that we saw in the previous two films, like, at all. And Michael didn't die at the end of Halloween Kills, so she should be on edge, as even more so than she was when he was locked into a hospital. There's so many issues like that, like, we're going to list a ton of them, I'm sure, during our actually breakdown of the film. But I think the marketing is where it set expectations that they were just never going to match. And that's a weird thing to do. Can you imagine if fucking Lord of the Rings or Avengers did this, where their last film, like their epic battle third film, was just basically, okay, we're going to follow a totally different character, and then at the end give you a half-ass battle and then end the series like that. It just makes no fucking sense at all. And if, like you said, Joe, that you felt nothing at the end, I was pissed. Like, I feel as someone who's invested so much time and energy into this franchise, which I love. I love the Halloween franchise, don't get me wrong. To give us this to end the story of Laurie Strode and Michael Myers feels so just awful. Like, I feel the same way I did when the new Star Wars trilogy didn't put the three characters together one last time. It's something we're just never going to get again, and they took it away from us. Like, it's just, I'm just mad. And I can't wait to talk about the specific reasons that I'm mad, but that's my feeling after watching it.
Yeah.
Do you think, I've seen some people compare, like, there's people who are like, well, this is, like Halloween 3, like, all over again, or Friday the 13th part 5. Do you think that's a fair comparison? Do you think in time fans will come around to this and be like, this was cool? Like, do you think it maybe just needs time for people to digest it after what they were expecting? Maybe our expectations were too strong. Go ahead, Todd. Todd's really got strong feelings about this. I can tell.
I was saying no to Sam, and she walked by you nodding yes. No, I hear that. I hear that argument, but I can't agree with it, because this, Fridays are not really a contained story. You know what I mean? They have loose bounds, whatever, but this is his trilogy. You know what I mean? I think this movie, if it wasn't labeled Halloween 3, it would be fine, like, it makes sense, like, for them to go this direction, but not, like you said, or someone said, in a part 3. Like, why do we care about this kid he's not even part of the Allison's friend group from part 1, like, we don't know who this fucking guy is, who cares? But I personally don't think, to answer your question, I personally don't think it's going to grow on anybody, because it's, the 40 years in the making showdown between one of the best final girls of all time, one of the best killers of all time, and it's done in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, But my first gripe is, Steve touched on it. So for 40 years, after 4 or 5 people were killed, Laurie's a fucking nightmare, right? She's survivor's guilt, PTSD, whatever you want to call, everything's wrong. You know what I mean? Rightfully so. She's got these traps. She's got this house. She's a hermit. She doesn't talk to anybody. She destroys relationships with everybody. And then 4 years pass, and the boogeyman is on the loose. He just killed your daughter, just killed your son-in-law, just killed your friends that you grew up with, Tommy Doyle, who you took care with, but that's okay. And now life is perfect, and you're sunny disposition, and you're hanging out with the ex-cop, and you guys are gonna fuck probably. You know what I mean? Where was the character transition? Having a time jump was a complete fucking mistake. It should have been one night, not 4 years. Didn't matter. I did not buy her transition from 40 years of nothing, when he's behind prison, the safest place you can be, or secure place you can be. And then he's out and about. He killed a fuck ton of people, including a lot of your family members, and damaged your granddaughter, but you're okay now. That did not make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they were going for, because at some point you have to get over trauma, and that was basically the whole thing with this movie. Obviously, her writing her memoirs at the end and, saying that, I think it said evil never goes away. It just takes a different shape or something like that. So I mean, I understand it, but I agree. I don't think it was the right decision. I think the time jump was the biggest mistake this movie could have made. I think we needed to see that grief of her losing her daughter, like, and like you said, keep it on the same night, right? Like you had a direct continuation from part 2. They should have just did a direct continuation on to part 3. Michael is still on a fucking absolute rampage. He just killed the daughter. You could follow him again, have him killing more people. Laurie, looking for Michael. They finally get their showdown. There's build up. There was no fucking build up in this movie to that showdown. I did not give a shit once they finally got to that showdown because I was like, okay, it's finally happening. But like, my heart, there was no ramp up. Instead, we're focused on Corey Cunningham for the entire movie, a character we've never met before, a character no one gives a shit about. And instead we get a love story with this Corey Cunningham character. I mean, I do think it was I'll give it a little bit of credit. I mean, I do think it was interesting, kind of, I guess, like saying that you can carry the evil onto another character. So it doesn't always have to be that Michael Myers character, I guess. Like the evil, of course, like she said, evil takes different shapes and whatnot. And I think that's interesting. Had this been not the last movie in the trilogy, and that's so like there were good ideas there, but it was just the wrong movie to try to introduce this when you're trying to wrap it up. Instead, you're wanting to introduce new stuff. And then, I mean, we'll get into more, but like, then you carry this movie on for 90%, and then you decide to kill this character. Like, they should maybe like let Corey Cunningham live, and then maybe you could have made a new movie like in a couple of years with him or something like that. But instead, you kill him. So it's like, okay, that was all really for nothing, and it didn't fucking mean anything. Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is.
Boy.
There's a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to talk about a couple of those things. Yeah. I agree that the time jump was ridiculous, and forget Laurie, which is bad enough. What was Michael doing for fucking 4 years in the sewer? Just standing, like just fucking chilling down there? Was he a Ninja Turtle? Did he build a lair? Like, what the fuck was he doing down there? It makes no.
Was the bum feeding him? Was the bum feeding him? You think?
Somewhat.
Yeah, I think the homeless guy was feeding him. Yeah,
but that's just, it's so weird. Like, it makes no sense. Why did he stop killing? Why is he not on a rampage? Why is he just down there? Why didn't he come back the next Halloween? There's 1,000 questions. Why is he after Laurie? Why didn't he go back to the house? There's like,
it was a pandemic, Steve. He was social distancing.
Yeah. Fuck it just, I mean, he was wearing a mask, so he's good. But it was so weird to not have him involved for the majority of this movie, and just like, yeah, like you said, we're waiting for this big fight, and by the time it's there, we're like, okay, it's just whatever, just get it over with. I want this movie to be over already, and it sucked. And you're right, introducing a new character, they should have built kind of the building blocks for this before. It should have been someone that we've seen from the beginning, just someone who you see his, maybe he's super popular in the first one, and then he does, the accident in part 2, and then part 3 pick up with him later where, people hate him and stuff like that. I get the idea of what they were doing, that evil can, kind of pass itself on, and a bunch of other things that I'll talk about later. I just don't think it was fleshed out well. It just didn't resonate with me at all, because, what he did was an accident. I mean, he got off really quick. The whole town thing, there's a lot of things we still have to cover, but I just want to answer the stuff about Laurie and Michael that I hated.
Yeah, it's weird that we're all on the same page. Usually there's some dissent, but I think this would have been a better character if it was her boyfriend from part 1, because he's already a dick. And or man, someone, they already eliminated Laurie being brother and sister with him, which I think that was a mistake originally, because that still would have been a good point of like why he's so fucking infatuated and why she's infatuated with him. But like, make him a boyfriend, or make him related to Michael Myers somehow, and he's a town pariah because he's a fucking Myers, something like that. But I absolutely love the concept of, like you guys mentioned, evil, the shape. It doesn't have to be Michael, it could be anybody. I love that. But yeah, bringing it, starting it, ending in part 3 is so stupid. I mean, yeah, there's no changing it now, but you got to start that off sooner. It's ridiculous. What about why did Corey and Allison like instantly fucking love each other?
That's another issue I had too. It felt so out of place and aggressive. She just sees him walk into
Clinic.
the hospital or a clinic or wherever she works at. She looks at him, she's like, yeah, he will be mine. Oh yes, he will be mine.
Mine,
And she
she's
goes
mine.
after him so fucking aggressively through this thing. Like it's just so quick and so awkward. I don't know, it just didn't work. It felt too forced to me. It didn't feel organic. It's like, okay, we need to introduce this character. He's got to be involved somehow. So they're going to fall in love in like 4 minutes. And I didn't like that at all.
They even could have had him just been a Michael Myers fanboy, you know? Like they could have fixed the whole fucking problem in one fucking way, making him a fanboy because he's the town prior, right? Make that introduced a lot earlier, and then he's the one that fucking found Myers and took care of him. Fixed, you know what I mean? And then like Michael gives his essence or whatever to him, and he's like, now I fucking hate the Strodes too. But it's like simple fixes, I think, that were overlooked for whatever reason. I really don't get it.
Right. I'll tell you another thing I had a big issue with here is that this is supposed to be a continuation from the first movie, the 1978 original. Michael Myers is supposed to be the epitome of like pure evil, the devil, the black, because he has no eyes. He is just blackness. He's supposed to be a supernatural being, I thought. I mean, he gets shot 6 times in that first movie, falls off a balcony, gets up, and
hold on,
just
Joe.
keeps on
I
moving.
shot him 6 times. There you go.
6 times. But in this movie, we're led to believe he is just a man, and I did not like that.
Yeah, which is also
whatsoever
against what they showed in Kills, because at the end
Right.
of Kills, they shoot him in the head, and he gets up and starts killing again. Because remember we talked about how it was weird that all of a sudden he has powers, and they completely didn't address that in this movie again. It didn't belong in this fucking trilogy. It's weird.
Yeah.
We there's so much like little shoestring sprinkled in there from Kills too. Like him staring in his old window was supposed to be something, and it wasn't.
Right.
Like it's like they had so many ideas, and
well, and where did all those characters from part 2 go? They all just like completely, like, I know some of them died, but like
they all fucked
Kyle
off.
Kyle Richards' character is like a complete throwaway. She was such a pretty important character in that second movie, and here she's reading tarot cards for a second, and then we never see her again, and that's it. Like
she's a barmaid too.
She's just like a bartender. That's all.
They just completely cut her character, and like, so it makes me think like that second movie was just like a complete fan service. Like, and then they're like, all right, well, let's try to do something different in this third movie. But like, it just felt like it just didn't mesh like at all together. And then like, then you of course they had to bring in the fucking cop with the cowboy hat who's in the Kills for 2 seconds, and then they bring him back in this movie for another 2 seconds. It's like you introduce all these characters, and then forget it. We're like, let's focus on a completely new character for 95% of this movie. And it's just like, why? Like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's completely on David Gordon Green. I think the guy's a fucking hack. I'm not going to lie. Like, after watching this trilogy, like, I don't think he's the right guy to do. I think him and Danny McBride were the complete wrong choice to do this trilogy. Now they're going off to fuck up. Well, David Gordon Green is going to fuck up The Exorcist now, and I know for 100% fact he is going to fuck up The Exorcist. It's probably going to be terrible. I hope I eat my words, but The Exorcist Exorcist and Halloween, 2 of my favorite franchises, and I have no faith in this guy at all to put a good Exorcist movie out there after watching this.
And you guys said it was shot already?
Yeah,
I believe so.
The first one is because Ellen Bernstein said she already did her stuff a long time ago. So
it's too bad.
Another issue with, if we're talking about the guy with the cowboy hat, which I was hoping was leading to something, because we see him in all the movies, but he has such a small role in all the movies that I thought it was leading to some big thing in the third one, but obviously not. So at the end, when they're carrying his body around, they're parading him down the street, and all of the villagers like follow the car like it's the fucking Simpsons, and just like every single villager comes out of their house to watch this event. No fucking way. I get what they were trying to show, that the town is fed up of his shit, and obviously F kills, which was also super unrealistic in Kills, where they're all like evil dice tonight and the whole town is just pitchforks and
They murdered a fucking mental
irons.
patient, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
They drove him to suicide in part 2, and like everyone's cool with that. It's not even mentioned. It's like part 2 never happened in this town, and that would have been national. That'd be worldwide fucking news. You know how many people would have filmed Michael Myers murdering everybody in that street? Everyone gets their phone out, and it's just like everyone's cool, and Michael Myers is still in loose. And the old cop is like, "I'm learning about Japanese and cherry blossoms." I'm like, "Hey, motherfucker, how about you get back on the horse and fight the fucking Michael Myers? He didn't do your job. He didn't go anywhere. He's 75 years old. He didn't run off." I don't know, man. Yes.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna play a bigger role in this too. Like like I said, every character they introduce in this universe just gets completely thrown away in this movie, and
Even
just
Laurie.
we focus on Corey Cunningham. I mean, Laurie like at least like was in there here and there, but yeah, man, that final showdown was just so disappointing, man. Like there were some like cool moments, I guess, but like it was just the lack of fucking buildup. This movie was supposed to be build up to that final showdown, and they fucking don't do it. Like there's just no drama in this movie, like at all. Like the Corey stuff definitely has drama. And I actually liked the Corey storyline. Like I thought it was interesting enough, but just not in this movie. Like just not in this finale. Like it was not. It was just so out of place here. Because I will say one positive. I fucking loved the intro to this movie. When that fucking kid's body fucking hits the ground, it was fucking disturbing. Like that, they really went there, and I was like, and my jaw fucking actually opened. Like my jaw dropped there. I was like, holy fuck! Like that was brutal. Like even though it wasn't anything to do with Michael Myers or anything, it was a great intro to this movie. So I'll give him some props for sure. But yeah, like this is supposed to be about Michael and Laurie, and it was just a disservice to both characters, honestly. Like in this, supposed to be ending this, this chapter in their characters, 40 years later, and for them to just completely almost ignore both characters for long periods of this movie, it just wasn't right. It just really wasn't right. And that's why I said, like, when this movie ended, like I just like, I just felt empty inside, because I was just like, wow. That's like how we're ending it. And just the fucking procession was so corny. It was so fucking corny that like I think I started like shrinking into my seat because like I was like dying inside with how fucking cringe that moment was. And then just like to talk, like it goes to the whole he's human. He's not human. Like not if we're following that first movie. Like there's supposed to be some bit of supernatural to him. Throw him in the meat grinder alive. You know what I mean? Sure. And then you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, he's probably not coming, even if he's supernatural. It's going to take a while for him to come back from that. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was just, yeah. I mean, just a lot of just mistakes here. And at the end of the day, though, like, I still don't think it was a terrible movie. It was just disappointing, because it's like, is it worse than Halloween Resurrection? Like, is it worse than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? I can't say that, like, because those movies were fucking terrible. And this movie like had, moments that were good, and it had like an interesting storyline with the Corey Cunningham shit. It was just the wrong movie to do it.
Let me go to bat for Halloween 2 here.
All right.
At least it finished its story, 1 and 2. At least they're cohesive. Laurie was back and she was emotionally damaged. Unlike I hate to defend it, but Halloween 2 was a better end to that first movie from Rob Zombie than Ends was for this trilogy, in my humble opinion. Because it fucking stuck with the theme and it stayed with it. I have a question though. Did Michael Myers ejaculate when he killed that first person? I'm serious, 100%. I'm not making a joke. When he killed that person in the sewer, because when Corey gives it to him, he stabs him and he fucking starts shaking. I'm like, he's fucking coming. Like he's getting his powers back. I'm serious. It's not a joke.
So I didn't take that as him ejaculating. I just took it. He hasn't killed anyone in 4 years, and this plays on to the whole. He's not.
Because remember, the bum's like he takes some people down there. How'd you get out?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I definitely didn't take it as ejaculation. I took it as he was getting his power back because he's weak. He hasn't killed in a while. but that plays on to him being supernatural. Like, it does not play on to a normal man. So, I mean, maybe he is just a normal man and he gets off from doing that. But I don't know. I took it as he's getting his powers back. He's getting stronger again, you know.
When Corey punked him like 2 scenes later, he stole his mask. And
he did. It was sad.
Mike didn't even fucking put up a fight. Yeah, it was like an old man getting abused.
It was, yeah, exactly. Which was like weird because, like, well, obviously, I mean, that plays into their rhetoric that he's just a 70-plus-year-old man that's weak. But did you watch fucking Halloween Kills? That ain't no fucking 70-year-old normal man going on a fucking killing rampage the way he was tossing people around. So they need to make up their fucking mind what's going on here, and they didn't. And honestly, the more now, I didn't really think about that until just now, and that pisses me off even more.
I know you liked the Corey storylines. I didn't, and I think there's a few reasons for that. On top of just fucking it, but didn't belong in that movie. But outside of that, just looking at it like for the film that it is, number one, he's like, I didn't really get the feeling the whole town hated him. It was really just those stupid bullies that were so
the fucking
weak.
Band Geeks,
the
dude.
Band Geeks, like
the
it
mullets.
just, like that's who you choose to showcase how the town hates you, or basically these punk kids that are bullying him. That didn't really do it for me. And why wasn't this leading into him taking the mask and becoming, you know, not Michael Myers, because Michael Myers is the person, but the Shape or the Boogeyman? Because if you go back, so I rewatched the trilogy like before, you know, so all in one shot. And the first scene of the 2018 movie is all about the power of the mask. You know, the reporter takes the mask out of the bag, holds it up to Michael Myers, and the entire facility starts going apeshit, as if the mask is the source of Michael Myers' power. Why wasn't that brought back? And when Corey puts on the mask, that's when he becomes full Boogeyman, full Shape, and then he starts going on a killing rampage. If they had done just that, my score would have went up double. Just that. And that's the only reason I could see them introducing this character, was to show that the mask, not the man, and that's why he survived it. So Michael Myers is a man, but without the mask, he is powerless. And it should have been about the fucking mask. But nope, they went through this whole bullshit. He basically just threw the mask away so Michael could grab it back so he could have his final fight with Laurie. Damn it, David Gordon Green.
That's an excellent point, Stephen. I love that. Actually, would love that. I think that's a great idea, but they did not do that. So maybe Steve should be writing these movies, because I love that idea. I would have loved that, Steve. I agree with you. I think that would have completely changed, I think, all of our scores. Maybe not Todd as much, but would it have changed your mood at all, Todd, into this movie?
Yeah, well, that's one of my gripes too, is that they didn't commit to anything. Like,
right.
It seemed like, you know, I thought that Allison was going to be the next evil. Didn't play
right.
out.
That was like a super popular theory online.
Yeah. Laurie, that's hinted at the end of this one with her keeping the mask.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they didn't even commit to this. Like, cool, let's fucking commit to it. I can get behind that if you commit to it. And no, he's literally killed off, and then Michael gets his 5-minute fight, and then it's done. It's like, we arrest the kid, have him in the back of a police cruiser. Fucking, because I'll give a prop. One of my favorite shots in this movie was when Laurie looks out the window and Corey's standing like Michael Myers. I'm like, oh shit, like this is okay. But they just abandoned it, and they didn't have the balls to like stick with anything. It's a shame.
Yeah, and if they had, just to come back, I only thought of it. I didn't put this in my review. I thought of this while we were talking. If they had made it about the mask, it also would have tied into this being Halloween 3, right? Because they used the Halloween 3 like logo. You know, they had like kind of Halloween 3 Easter eggs throughout. If it was about a mask, that ties into Halloween 3, which is all about masks. So there's so many things they could have brought back together, but it's just, like you said, they didn't commit to fucking anything. You know, having watched 2018 Kills and Ends back to back to back, I really saw that, okay, there's great, you know, segments that are starting to build up, and then they just fucking abandon them and go to something else and abandon it again. And that's where I think my frustration with this movie really lies, is that it didn't fit with the rest of the trilogy at all, and it's such a fucking bummer. You guys you have any more points, or should we take a little bit of a breather and go through the questions, because we do have quite a bit of Halloween questions?
Let's see.
Yeah,
questions,
let's do it.
So you can ask us questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast or on our Discord, which you can join for free. And all you have to do is ask us for a link. We'll send it to you, and we do a hangout at the end of each month. And this month we are doing Hellfest, so that'll be super fun. And I'm sure we'll talk about Halloween because it will be the weekend of Halloween, and this movie is on a lot of people's minds. So I look forward to discussing it. So the first question is an audio question. It comes to us from Chuck. So Chuck, what is your question?
What's up, Horror Squad? Chuck here. First off, I hope y'all have a lot of fun this weekend. I'm sad I couldn't be there, but knee stuff and travel and kid and all that stuff, it just wasn't working out. But that's okay because y'all are gonna have a blast. And again, I'm sad I can't be there. But in honor of the weekend, we're gonna do something a little different because this is different than y'all having a full-on meetup. So, question isn't really a question. It's more so of a new game that we're gonna play. It's called Fantasy Draft, and we're going to play it with the Halloween movies. Now, one rule, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is out because Tom Atkins is just too powerful, and you automatically win if you get that. So we're not going to put that in there. Instead, what we're going to do is whoever had the least amount of points in trivia tonight gets to pick first. Whoever had the most amount of points gets to pick last. And then the person who picks last gets to pick the first round the next time. And then it just goes up and down. So if you pick first, then you pick last in the second round. If you pick last in the first round, you pick first in the second round. Middle person, I'm sorry, you're stuck in the middle. But Fantasy Draft, out of all of the Halloween movies, so that includes Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5, Curse, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombies 1 and 2, 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. That's it. I just want to hear y'all's draft and fight about it. Okay, love you. Bye.
Well, you pick first, Steve. You got 2, and then Joe and I will just fight to the death.
All right. So I have them all on my screen here. So thank you, Chuck, for the question. So we'll do that. Mine, I mean, it has to be fucking Halloween, the original. It's not even close. So
yeah, you cheater.
So who wants to go second?
I guess I gotta take Halloween 2 then. Original Halloween 2.
Okay.
Oof. Okay. Well, there are the 2 best movies gone. I'll take Halloween H2O.
Oh, nice. And that's the best trilogy of this universe, right? 1, 2, and H2O.
For sure. All right,
yeah.
so now I go, right?
You go.
We're
Yeah.
going Snake Draft. Okay. After that, I'm gonna take probably a controversial choice, but I'm gonna take Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I was gonna take that one. I'll take 2018's then.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Unfortunately, it didn't lead up to anything, but
Yeah, I know.
all right. So that does not leave me with great movies. I'm gonna go with Halloween 4.
I mean,
And
we can
then-
already stop this already because you're gonna win.
Yeah.
None of these are gonna beat the original. That's like top 10 in all time
And
for a lot of people.
After
Right.
that, I'll go Halloween 5.
Ugh, Halloween 5 sucks.
It does.
I'll take Halloween Kills because a lot of people love the kills in that one, which rightfully so. They're pretty dope. So I'll take Kills.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh. All right. What am I left with here? I'm left with
You got
Sit-
4,
wait.
Curse.
Curse, Resurrection, H2, and Halloween Ends, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man.
H2, yeah.
Shit.
Oof. I am going to, let's give some love to Paul Rudd. I'll go part 6, Curse of Michael Myers.
That's the best one left out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Um,
no, it's still Joe.
Still Joe?
Oh, and
Oh, son
then
of a bitch.
on the way back, oh man, this is about the bottom of the barrel here. My 3 worst on my Halloween movies by ranking. At least Halloween Resurrection had Busta Rhymes
Oh, come on.
beating up Michael Myers. No, I'm just kidding. That may be the worst one just because of the way they did Laurie so dirty in that one. I'm gonna. Oh man, I'll go Rob Zombie's H2. I think.
Damn it. Well, that one too. So it's Resurrection or Ends?
Yep.
I fucking hate Busta Rhymes. I'll take Ends.
Okay, so I'm stuck with
Steve gets
that.
I'm stuck with
Resurrection.
fucking Resurrection.
All right,
Ooh.
so
It's terrible.
here are our lineups. So let us know in the Discord, or if you want to hit us up on social media, who has the best lineup. So I have Halloween, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Resurrections. Joe has Halloween H2O, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, and Halloween 6. And
Oof.
Todd has
It's a bad
Halloween
lineup.
2, 2018, Kills, and Ends. You have the whole fucking trilogy, Todd.
He does. With
Son of a bitch, how'd
H2.
that happen?
with Halloween 2. So let us know which one you think has the best lineup. I'm curious. So we'll give you the answers next week.
That was fun. Thanks, Chuck, for that one.
Yeah. All right. So going on to the rest of the questions here. I'm just gonna pull them up.
Resurrection's so bad, man.
It really is. Like, that's why, like, I mean, this doesn't need to be on the show, but like, that is why after I rated Halloween Ends, I was like, wow, I have Resurrection rated higher by a half star. And I was like, that ain't right. Like, I just, like, it is so, Resurrection is so terrible. So like, yeah. So I think I have to raise my score, like, just by a half star, I think, on my Halloween Ends one, just so it is in the same realm.
All right. So the first question is from King Breezy. If you each could have scripted your perfect ending with this new trilogy, how would it have gone?
Yeah, I mean, I like their idea of just doing it all in one night, like Todd had said earlier, without the time jump. I think too, if it was me, I would have kept Michael and Laurie related. I think that was also a huge mistake made by the filmmakers. I think the fact that they're not related, it's like, why is Michael still coming for her? I feel like having that, brother sister relationship really, it lands better in my opinion. So I would have kept them related. I would have kept it in one continuous night. And I mean, I think it would have been fine if you just continued on from Halloween Kills, Michael keeping on his rampage, and Laurie going after him with a final showdown in the end. I think that would have been fine.
100% agree. 100% agree. One night only. If you need to make a time jump from part 2 to 3, just because Laurie, she was cut open, so she needed a little bit of time to heal. Give her a little bit of time. I'm talking weeks, not years. Yeah, keep it brother and sister because it makes sense for Laurie to be so obsessed, for Michael to be obsessed about her. Or I think I talked about it in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre early film this year, is that it made sense that Leatherface ignored Sally because to him she was nothing. You know what I mean? So even have like Laurie obsess over Michael for 40 years, and when he gets out, he doesn't give a fuck who she is. Like, that would have been a cool moment too. But yeah, otherwise keep it just one night, man. Cut out the Corey stuff and make your own slasher movie that has nothing to do with Michael Myers with the Corey subplot thing.
So I agree with you guys, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of like what I was talking about. So keep everything you guys said one night. Have Laurie like going after Michael hard, and the whole movie is about her, trying to kill Michael. And then you could have, a new character, maybe an old character, kind of be in there, like a new friend for Allison, or someone that's consoling her with all the shit that she went through in the fucking last movie. And then at the end of the film, she finally, she rips off the mask, Michael Myers, kills Michael Myers, and thinks it's over. And then she gets stabbed in the back, and it's someone with the Michael Myers mask on, and you realize that the whole time it was never Michael, it was the mask. So it just gives credence to the whole series that it was never really about the man, it was always about the mask. So that's what will tie into the first one when he's holding it up and shit and do that kind of stuff. So that's what I would do. I would make it about the mask, not about the man. And that's how you can keep the series going in the forward without Michael Myers. Good. So that's my thought, but curious what other people think. I'd love you guys to.
Would have been better than this trilogy.
Yep. Next question is from the Frightmare Collective. Do you think if they had developed Corey over all 3 movies, we could have had a new shape? Just a theory I heard and was curious on your thoughts. So I think we pretty much, all agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the way it should have been if they're going to do that storyline.
Yeah, have him be the boyfriend.
Yeah, but he died in the second one, right? So.
Well, I know, but don't have him die. Have him be related. It would have been cool to have him, or maybe not even him, but someone related to Myers, the Myers bloodline, and he takes over the mantle. I think that would be cool.
All right. So next question. I'm not sure who this is from because I got a screenshot from Joe. So sorry, I don't know who it's from. But hey, fellas, just watched Halloween Ends about an hour ago and look forward to hearing your thoughts. As for a question, do you think they are trying to set up a new franchise by saying anyone could be Michael Myers? This might be from Horror Fan Ryan, actually, now that I think of it. So do you think they're setting up a new franchise? Is that what this whole thing was about?
I mean, if they were, they wouldn't have killed Corey. Yeah. So I'm going to say no, like, because otherwise they would have kept him alive. So.
Yeah. The only way Corey being alive would work if we didn't have those final scenes of Laurie having closure. Otherwise, why would she? You know what I mean? So he's definitely dead. Unless Laurie takes over, but she's not coming back.
This is over. Like you're not going to see anything. New filmmakers will take this over, or Blumhouse will bring new people in, and they'll just completely reboot it. I don't see.
2 years?
Who knows? You know, maybe longer. I don't know. I mean, they killed it in the box office. They made $60 million in the box office, not including whatever they made on Peacock. So they know this franchise is a moneymaker. And who is it? The Akkad there. He made them sign a thing saying like, we're making more Halloween movies. Like Halloween will never die, obviously, because it's making his family richer by the fucking movie. So it's coming. When will it come? Who knows? But evil will never die.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with
Tommy
that.
Doyle would have been a better fucking replacement. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, man.
I
I honestly,
hate him,
I don't know, man. Like Halloween Kills had the good kills, but this had better like a script, because like the fucking dialogue in Halloween Kills was fucking atrocious.
Oh, fucking bad. But it had those kills, like you said.
It did. It had the kills,
Yeah.
so that's why it's the better movie based on that. But like, if I'm like going by scripts, I mean, this is the better movie based on that.
Just going off all three, man. Part 1 is really good.
It's the
It's
strongest
really,
for
it's
sure.
Really good.
Like by a
It's
lot.
like top 4, I think, in the series for me is
yeah.
2018s, and then they just
Had they just gotten rid of that whole stupid Dr. Loomis clone angle where he puts on the mask, like I think
God.
it would have been it would have been like one of my favorites in the franchise, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So he finishes by saying, this movie is such a mess. I'm not sure what they were even trying to do. Anyways, feel free to call me an idiot if I miss what they were trying on here. So no, definitely not an idiot. I think it's a lot of us feel the same way. So thank you for that. The next one is from Super Retro Throwback Reviews. Where would you stack the confrontation between Laurie and Michael in Ends to their other confrontations in the previous films, including the ones that Blumhouse doesn't recognize but are part of the franchise?
Definitely
good question.
Definitely one of the weaker ones, but it's better than Resurrections. No doubt about that. I mean, Resurrections is definitely the worst. I mean, yeah, I'd say it's like kind of definitely more in the bottom tier, but not the worst. I still think the best is probably H2O's. That's my favorite confrontation they've ever had, and H2O's the perfect ending to the Michael Laurie saga, and I'll still
perfect.
Yeah, the perfect ending to the Michael Laurie saga. And
come on, guys, it was a paramedic. Everyone knows.
For me,
this.
I was gonna say, I just pretend Resurrection didn't exist, and that's how I like to think the Halloween saga ends for Michael and Laurie, and kill Resurrection and this Halloween ends bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Next question is from Wasted Youth 1986. What did you guys think about Laurie being fine with not knowing where Michael is? She spent 40 years being paranoid as fuck when he was locked up and booby trapping her house, but now she doesn't know where he's at and she's baking pies and shit. The fuck? Seemed like a weird character switch to me. Yeah, we definitely talked a lot about this. It's
so out of character.
Completely. It made no sense to this story that they were saying. So I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me at all. All right. So next question here is from Cody, Oddjob versus 007. With Heather Langenkamp wanting to return to Nightmare, do you think that the franchise could make a return in a similar fashion as this franchise?
1,000%. Yes, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens soon. England's getting old, but I feel like he has at least one more movie in him. Langenkamp's not as good of an actress as Jamie Lee Curtis, that's for sure. But I think they know the money's there. Hopefully it's better than what we got in this Halloween trilogy, I guess. But I mean, I'm concerned because I feel like it would probably go to Blumhouse, and the way Blumhouse handled this, I just don't know how it would handle the Elm Street franchise. But I would love to see it. I still would love to see it, regardless. So I hope it happens. I would love to see England in that makeup one more time.
Yeah, you'd have to retcon a lot of stuff, including everyone's favorite part 3, because she died in that one, right? So
She did.
You'd
Well,
have
you'd
to-
have to do, you just do what they did with Halloween. You just only the first movie existed, and you
I
go from there.
guess. She's been fucking taking Hypnosil for 45 years.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, bad or not, keep bringing it. You know what I mean? It just sucks that this one happened to be bad.
Whatever, because like otherwise, like I'm a firm believer. Like otherwise, people like say let these franchises die, but like why? You know what I mean? Like let them go on. You're always gonna have those fantastic original movies. It's not gonna put a stain on anything. It's like these slashers are our new universal monsters. They're the ones we grew up with. They're a comfort blanket in a lot of ways, and I would hate to see them just completely go away and die. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 2018 is like a good movie. I enjoyed Halloween 2018. So, just having that is good. So I definitely want to see another Nightmare, especially that Robert Englund. Like time's running out. He's not a young spring chicken anymore. So let's get it done, and hopefully it's going to be something good that can kind of, hopefully that they like go in knowing that this is his last one and really like kind of pass the torch to someone else. But we'll see. He goes on to say, do you think they could do a better job than they did with Halloween, especially with a different creative team? Almost can't do worse, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, definitely. I think there's some great filmmakers out there that probably have better ideas than this. So, I mean, they made an effort, like we said. I mean, like we said, the first movie was pretty solid, and then they just, I don't know what happened, but it's a shame.
And his last question: should we just leave the past alone and continue to reboot? I don't like you said, Joe. I agree with you. I think there's a place for reboots and reimaginings and future sequels and stuff like that. There's a ton of original content if you want. God, I watched so many original films from 2022 that are fantastic, by the way. And it doesn't take away that once in a while I like to watch Scream and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. Now, those particular ones weren't great this year, but Hellraiser was pretty good. There's always going to be a filmmaker who's going to have a fresh idea, and once in a while they're going to hit and they're going to be awesome. And I'm going to keep watching them, even if they suck. Like, even if I hate fucking Halloween Ends, if you put out another Halloween next year, I will be right back at watching it because I love the franchise, and that's just the way it is. So I think keep doing them. Different people, different visions, different movies. So
yeah. Well, we got Friday the 13th. It's already been confirmed. It's coming. So we finally get to see Jason back here soon.
About time too. Jeez.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Next question is from Weezerface. It's meetup week. What are you guys looking forward to the most this weekend?
Seeing Todd and Steve, 100%. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I've seen Todd. I've seen Steve recently. We did Halloween Horror Nights, but I haven't seen Todd in forever. Texas Frightmare Weekend, which was
we briefly hung out too. It wasn't even like a big thing.
Yeah, super brief. So yeah,
it was early in our relationship too.
It was very early.
Was it pre-podcast or post?
Oh,
post. But no, we weren't. We were like maybe doing it for a few months or something like that. I want to say, if that.
A month. No, I don't think we've done it yet. No, we hadn't done it yet because I was still living in California at the time. We didn't start that time to Kentucky.
All right, yeah. So it was pre.
Hanging out. Yeah, I'm excited. Hanging out. I wanted to see Salem too. It's gonna be a little crowded, so probably won't be able to enjoy it as much as I would love to, but definitely go back when it's not crowded. But yeah, hanging out with everybody is gonna be super cool.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, hanging out with, the whole squad is going to be such a unique event. I mean, we're repeating it in Texas in May, but it's going to be cool for the first time to kind of all get together and do the first event that we could all do together and stuff like that. But if you're going just the stuff we're doing with Omri, like just the event stuff, which of the parts of that are you looking forward to the most?
I think the Q&A, like following the screen, obviously, because we're going to be hosting that. So like, and the fact that it's a sold out theater, I think is going to be really fucking cool to like be up there and like kind of presenting this Q&A. So I think that's going to be awesome. So we definitely have to try to get a picture snapped while we're up there with the whole crowd in the background stuff. That would be cool.
Yeah, the whole movie thing is gonna be awesome. Watching it with him,
yeah,
a sold out show with a good crowd. That's gonna be pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the signing as well because like Joe just got to do it, twice now with Damien, just to see people like interacting with the celebrity. Now, I've been so often on the other side, just being the fan, going to the table, getting my autographs. I always wonder what it was like on the other side, right? From like getting Omri's comments after and just talking to him and hanging out with him. And I think that's going to be super interesting. And just seeing everyone, like, people from the Discord, that's so cool. Or people that listen to our show, meeting them in person for the first time. I was saying Weezerface, who asked this question, is going to be one of them. It's going to be so awesome just to see people and thank them. Honestly, that's for just listening. It's amazing. So looking forward to all of it.
It's kind of surreal, to be honest. Like, I don't consider us like famous by any means, you know what I mean? By any means, but it's very weird to be like there in a professional capacity. You know what I mean? That's super strange to me. Like it's I don't know. It's very, very fucking weird. So super interesting.
I totally agree with that. It is weird to go there and being like on the other side of it.
Yeah. Even if we're just like facilitating Omri, but still,
right.
It's
yeah,
like,
we're basically like 3 handlers.
Yeah, like, hey, I'll get the water, Joe. You get the ranch for his fucking wings. Like,
exactly. It's it's gonna be awesome. I really look forward to the weekend, and I can't wait for everyone to hear about our weekend on next week's episode. And this will probably be
I'm
the
gonna
first.
Record it. I'm bringing my camera shit. I'm recording as much as possible.
Nice. I was thinking that this is probably the episode that a lot of people are going to listen to for the first time, because whoever sees our table, they might like check out our podcast, and we just shit on Halloween for like an hour. So we're not always like this. We like the movie sometimes. Just this particular one that we didn't love. Next question is from Lil 3 Courtney. That's Shaylin. After the many timelines we have seen in the Halloween franchise, which do you think best represents how Laurie would have turned out? If none of them, describe how you think she would have turned out.
Go ahead, Joe. H2O, say it.
Yeah, 100%. I already said it, but H2O. Yeah, I think that's the best storyline. And it's a continuation of the first one, and it just makes sense that she would fall into hard times, going to alcoholism after all the bullshit she went through and stuff, and then to be able to kind of write her life, become a headmaster at a school and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, to me, that's the perfect timeline for Laurie. And, she defeats Michael in the end. And yeah, I mean, she was just a strong final girl all the way through. So
I completely agree. Like, honestly, and just that, like, the kill is obviously fucking amazing when she chops his head off. But that little moment right before where she has hesitation because that is her brother, and there's a connection there, and you feel that connection. And she's like, nah, fuck it. And she cuts his head off. That was perfect. That was the end. They should have just ended it there. The Michael Myers story, and then go maybe the Halloween 3 route after that for a little bit, and just have separate stories like John Carpenter originally intended to do. But yeah, that was the perfect ending, man. It's too bad. But it's cool to see her again. I'm not gonna completely shit on it because I love seeing Jamie Lee Curtis, and I do love seeing Michael Myers, so I'm not complaining about it, but I think that was the great end to that story. Our next question: do you think they made a mistake of having the end they did in Halloween 2018 that made it hard to top in Halloween Ends?
No. If they just would have kept going on that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. They should have just kept going and not abandon those ideas.
I mean, they can, like I said, they can still do the time jump if they really want to, but just have Corey taking care of Michael, and that explains his whole absence and Corey's evil transition.
Sure. Yeah, well, because like honestly, Corey's like a pretty sympathetic character, so like I don't even think the transition to make for him to become evil even makes a lot of sense either. Like I know he was getting like bullied and stuff like that, but like he seemed like a good person. Like
that's why you make him a Myers, and then it's more believable. Like he's fighting his lineage, and then he's the one that takes care of Mike, and then protects Michael. Maybe he finally snaps and protects Michael at the end from Laurie, and then now we got a new Michael. But no.
Yeah, exactly. And her last question: why do you think they made everyone such an asshole in Haddonfield?
Fucking Haddonfield sucks, dude.
They're an angry bunch.
Band nerds run around town.
No, you'd be mad too if you had to deal like you were in like this nice quiet town, and then you had to deal with a serial killer for like 40 years of your life, like having to come back all the time.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the lady that got like stabbed in the throat in part 2 and comes back in 3.
Oh
just to
yeah,
be a
she's
guilt
yeah,
trip.
right. We didn't even mention her in this one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not like it mattered, but still.
That'd be funny if they brought back the doctor with his crushed ass head, like, oh, Dr. Savasian, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't expect that at all. 'Cause
Yeah.
she was fucking dead. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I don't know how she survived that. But anyway, so
She's
thank
evil,
you.
pure evil.
Right, exactly. That's where the franchise is going next. The last series of questions here are from Patty. As a horror fan of the franchise, which Halloween was the best? I think we'd all agree the original.
Part 1,
yeah.
the original. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah. What about, is 2 your second favorites?
Yeah, 2's my second favorite.
Three's my second favorite. But
Me
if we
too.
eliminate part 3, I would go with probably Rob Zombies, man. Honestly, it's grown on me.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 is also my second favorite, but if not, I think I'd also probably put 2, just because it was a nice like cap to that story.
Yeah,
again.
There's an example of continuing the
Right,
story, right?
exactly, and on a thread that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's for Ben Tramer.
right. And the final question: what was the best part of this movie? So we spent a lot of time kind of saying the negatives. What was the one thing about Halloween Ends that you actually did really like?
One sec. Ben Tramer's the most unluckiest motherfucker of all time. That's some shoddy
For real.
police work right there too. Did
It really is.
did the cop run him down, or was it fucking Loomis?
Loomis starts shooting at him. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but the intro to this movie I thought was great. It was a great scene, shocking, disturbing, all in one. So yeah, I think that's the highlight of this movie, and of course Carpenter's score is always great.
Yeah. The shot with Laurie looking out and seeing Corey standing like Michael Myers did in part 1 is a really cool shot. Yeah, that's mine.
As much as I hated the whole idea of it, seeing Michael Myers all like crazy looking in the sewer, I really like that shot. Just how like disheveled he looked and abandoned and like almost like part of the environment by that point, almost like he was growing into the crap that was in the sewer. I like the idea of that look, but yeah, there's not a lot of this movie that I really actually love, so it's unfortunate. And that's all the questions that we got. So thank you everyone for the questions. Could not do the segment without you. We really, really appreciate it. So final thoughts on this?
I have a final note real quick.
Oh.
Allison going with the cop that's like 40 years old. I'm like, what are we doing? He's not even cute. Allison,
She had daddy issues. Her
Daddy
dad
issues, yeah.
died. Her
Okay,
dad died.
okay.
So
Ugly motherfucker, didn't it? I'm glad he died. That was a good kill.
yeah.
I think. I don't
There
know.
were, I mean, man, we didn't even mention much of the kills. Actually, the DJ kill was fantastic.
Which one?
Like that when he cuts the tongue
Oh,
off.
the tongue.
Yeah,
That was
that's
cool. That was the best kill in the movie, I would say, and that was pretty dang cool.
There weren't
So
a lot, though.
I'll give props for that. Yeah, no, the body count wasn't that high in this one.
They spent it all in part 2, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the junkyard scene with Corey was really cool. Like in general, like when he kills all the bullies in the junkyard. So I think that was a pretty damn good scene.
You know
So
who
I'll give it props.
You know who the real hero of this story is, though? It's Corey's dad, man. That dude, he gives his son a second chance. He just wants his fucking spaghetti and watch 80s action films in his garage.
Jean-Claude, baby.
Like that's all that the dude wants. He just wants to live the simple life. All this shit's happening around him. Man, just give the guy his break. I don't know why. I really like that dad character. So there's one of my favorite things in the movie is the dad character was really cool.
I didn't think it was dad at first. I thought it was just a friendly boss.
At first, yeah, me too. And then he's at his house.
Yeah. He's banging his mom like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to him and all dads that are
justice for Corey's dad.
Yeah, they just want, that's all they want. Food and to watch their movies in peace.
I like how his man room had a cat poster in it too.
Yeah, right.
It's like Steve's room.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's basically me without the kids, you know? Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so my final note to this as we wrap up this trilogy and I think we've reviewed all 3 of them, right? As they've been released on this podcast, I think.
Not
Maybe not the first one.
Not 2018 on this
Okay.
podcast, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, as we wrap up this trilogy, it's been a ride. It's been an interesting ride, that is for sure. I mean, yeah, I just leave this trilogy just utterly being just disappointed at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, I just think mistakes were made. They had a chance to end this trilogy on a high note, and they took a swing. And I'll give them props for taking the swing, I guess, but unfortunately they missed. And it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Like I said, a disservice, in my opinion, to the Laurie and Michael character to end it this way. So, I've been back and forth on my score. I definitely don't think it's like a absolutely terrible movie. And I did have it ranked as the worst in my franchise. But I can't say this is a worse movie than Halloween Resurrection or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Is it as bad? Probably. But at least the script is better. So I am going to leave this at a 5 out of 10. It's still not a good movie. I was still very disappointed. And yeah, so 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, technically speaking, is it a bad film? No. It's a better film-wise than Resurrections for sure. I don't think it's a better film than Rob Zombie's Part 2 because, like I said, Rob Zombie's Part 2 continues Part 1, and it's, the same universe basically. This one seemed like it was characters did not match the previous movies. Laurie, and without saying the same thing I already said, just a total miss. I think it's terrible. It's a terrible Halloween film, and it's second worst in the franchise for me, and that's sitting at about a 3 out of 10 or a half star on Letterboxd. Same exact half score as Resurrections, but they're both equally terrible in different ways. So pretty bad.
Yeah, so everyone knows how I feel about it. We just talked about it for an hour, but I just want to go on my soapbox for a second and say, yes, I did not like this movie whatsoever. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go on Twitter and shit on people who liked it. I'm not going to go on Twitter and shit on the filmmakers or the fucking actors or the crew people or the people who did catering. I'm not like, chill, people. If you don't like the movie, it's too bad. Don't go attacking people over it. It's so fucking stupid. And if people loved it, I'm so happy for them because that's what it's all about. I have different opinions than people, but also the people who loved it, don't start acting like people who didn't like it don't get it or don't understand or they don't get the metaphors or they don't get the references. We all have different opinions. Just be cool with each other because I've been reading a lot on Twitter of the discourse and it's bad. It's actually turning into a really shit show over there over people just fighting over this movie, and it's just, come on, just love it or hate it, just be chill with people, have good conversations about why you didn't like it or why you liked it, and that's it, end it there. So yeah, 3 out of 10 for me. Just a huge disappointment. Maybe it'll go up in future years when I watch it again, because I will watch it again. I need time removed from it. Maybe next Halloween I'll go through the trilogy again and go in with a different mindset and a different expectation. But as it stands right now, I'm mad about it, if I'm being honest, because I had such high expectations for this, and this was our last shot to see, Laurie Strode and Michael Myers go at it, and they didn't just fumble the football, they fucking just kicked it to the other end and let someone grab it to finish the game. It's awful. So 3 out of 10.
Well said about the soapbox.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that is going to be it for this week. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on Halloween Ends. Next week, we are going to be talking about the brand new Hellraiser, which is currently streaming over on Hulu. Don't forget our big event this weekend with Omri Katz from Hocus Pocus. The whole squad will be there. We will have free swag for you guys. We can't wait to meet you guys. We can't wait for you guys to meet Omri. 1 to 5 at Silver Moon Comics, followed by our sold out screening at Cinema Salem at 7 o'clock. Be there or be square. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just follow the Horror Squad Podcast. If you'd like to send us an email, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com. And that's about it. Oh, merch. tpublic.com, the Horror Squad Podcast. If you want to show some support, get some shirts, get some hoodies, whatever. We got a whole bunch of stuff on there. So go buy some merch for us. That'd be cool. And one last thing. Thank you to anyone who might be a new listener that we might have met over the past couple weeks for our events. We hope you've been enjoying the show, and we hope you stick along with us. So that is it, and we'll see you guys next week for Hellraiser. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.